Hello, my name is Serge. I'm one of the respiratory therapists here at Carolina Store Medical Equipment. And in this video, we would like to show you how to use ResMed S9 CPAP machine. So let's get to it. So I just took it out of the bag, and of course it consists of two parts: this CPAP machine and a humidifier. You just line them up, and they click together like that. To take them apart, there's a little black button on the back here that you press and pulls apart. You're going to click it together. Power cord has this little box here, which is an adapter. The other end of it plugs in right in the back here. And we'll plug it in. And once you plug it in, the screen lights up and it does a little bit of loading. Now let's zoom in on the screen and look at some options here. Now once loading is done, you will see a screen like this. And remember, it's not a touch screen. To navigate through the options here, that you see the three little squares there, to navigate through, you would turn the dial. And as you turn the dial, you'll scroll to those three little things. And we'll go through each one real quick. To turn the machine on and off, you would press this button. You press here, machine turns on. And then once you press it again, machine turns off. Now, what these three options are. The first screen is informational. You don't have to set anything. You don't have to adjust anything, but you can look at some data, mainly for your personal, if you're curious to see how you're doing. For example, under the info, if you click on this eye here, it'll show you how many hours you've used it last night. Nobody's asking you to keep track of this data or look at it, but if you kind of want to see where you stand in your compliance, you can check that. To get out of the screen, you press on the eye again. It takes you out. Under the setup, you can see what kind of tubing you're using. It's always going to be a slimline. Simply means that it's thinner than regular tubes. And then you can also pick what kind of mask you're using at that point in time. And remember, to make any changes or to set anything on the screen, you have to first push on a dial. The screen will turn orange, and then when the screen is orange, you can adjust it by turning the dial once again. So we'll just say we're using pillows. We can also find out how well mask fits. If we highlight the mask fit and you push on dial again, machine turns on, says that it fits good, or it needs to be adjusted. Most people can tell if it's not fitting well, so you don't really have to go in here. And we will do the tracking for you on the hours, so you also don't really have to go in here either. This is mainly for your personal information, if you'd like to look at the hours or smiley frowny face. But if you don't want to see that, don't worry about it. Next screen over is humidity level. Now this screen is something that almost all of us will have to adjust because everybody has different levels or different comfort level of humidity. The way it works, remember there's a little chamber in here. We open this up by sliding the latch. There's the chamber that we fill with water. The mark level is on that yellow strip. I don't know if you can see it. It's best to use distilled water. Fill up to the line, slide it back in here, and the bottom portion of it is the heat plate that heats up a little chamber. Vapor comes up, and that's how moisture is made. So this number here on the screen, it reflects the amount of moisture that gets put out by the machine by controlling the heat. As you increase the temperature or the heat setting, as you make this number higher, let's say we'll make it 4. If it's 4, the heat plate is now warmer, hence more vapor is coming up and more moisture is made. So we control the moisture level by increasing the temperature on it on heat plate. As you make it higher, you would have more moisture. If it feels too warm, you would lower it down, you would have less moisture. Now to make things more interesting, as an additional feature, they made a tubing that can be heated. One end of the tubing has a clip on the bottom that clips into the humidifier, turns on the heat in here, and maintains the same temperature throughout the system. To operate that, there's this little rubber flap that we're going to remove. And in your machine, I probably will not be there because I usually rip it off. But you would fit the tubing over, like so, and then you turn it until it clicks in, like that, on the bottom. And you want to make sure that it clicks. You hear that click all the way down because it will sort of fit this way and it will stay on, it will work, but it's not going to work properly. And I'm going to show you how. You turn it until it clicks in, and as soon as you attach the tubing, you will find the humidity level becomes a temperature setting. I don't know if you can see that on the video or not, but it becomes a temperature instead of a number 3 or 4 or 5. Now, instead of picking a random number on the heat plate, you can actually specify the temperature you want in the system, and the machine will match it with the humidity that you need. And usually we start this setting at somewhere right around your thermostat setting, or maybe a couple degrees above. And then if you wake up with dryness in your mouth, nose, or throat, or if you have nasal congestion, or if you have runny nose, you want to take this temperature and increase it. So if, let's say, we started on 72, next day you woke up with dryness, you take this temperature and bump it up to 75. If, let's say, you still have dryness, keep going up until you're comfortable. You can go up to as high as 86. Or if you don't have dryness, you don't have congestion, no runny nose, but it just feels too warm, then you can take this temperature and lower it down to make it a little cooler for yourself. And now remember, with this tube, you should always see the temperature. If you're not seeing the temperature, if you're still seeing a number like that, it simply means that you're probably not in all the way. You want to make sure that the tubing clicks all the way in, because as soon as it does, the temperature displays on the screen. This is the only thing you will probably need to adjust or change periodically, because as the temperature changes outside, so does the humidity content in the air that we breathe in. If you don't like heated tubing, usually people have two sets of tubings. They switch it to a slim line. If you use the slim line, you would adjust the number. Same concept, dryness, go up, or if you have a congestion, runny nose, increase this number. If it feels too warm, lower it down. And again, to change it, you push on the dial, it turns orange, and then with the same button, you dial it up or down. So, informational screen, humidity level, something that you will need to adjust depending if you're dry, if it feels too warm. And then the last option on here, the last screen, is ramp time. Usually what happens at the sleep lab is people have, during a study, they go to sleep, and technician looks for what pressure works best for them. Once they find that pressure, machines get set on that same pressure. It's always the same setting. You don't have to adjust it. You don't have to set it. It's programmed in. But you can choose it so that machine starts low on a pressure of 4, and then in a certain time frame gradually go up to your prescribed pressure. For example, let's say I went through a sleep study and I ended up on a pressure of 10. 10 is quite a bit of air. Though I need it when I'm sleeping, I don't necessarily need it when I'm awake trying to get to sleep and be comfortable. So I would say set the ramp time to 20 minutes, or let's change it to 30. 30 minutes. When I start the machine, the pressure only going to go up to 4. It's going to stop on 4, and then in 30 minutes it will gradually increase to my prescribed setting. If, let's say in my case it's 10, it'll take 30 minutes to go from 4 to 10. This feature is usually used by people who first start out using CPAP, and they want to be on the lowest setting when they're awake so that it's easier getting used to it. Once you get used to the machine, you probably will turn this off or have it lower, or if you're really sensitive to pressure, you can have it all the way up to 45 minutes. Once that's set, you'll never really have to look at it again or choose it, because it's always on as long as it's enabled. Now, if, let's say, you picked 45 minutes setting for your ramp time, if in 45 minutes you didn't fall asleep and you feel like the pressure is overwhelming again, you reach 10, it's uncomfortable, you can't fall back asleep, you want to stop the machine and restart it. Because when you restart it, it goes back down to 4, and then you have another 45 minutes to work with. Also, some people, when they wake up in the middle of the night, you already be at 10. Stop the machine, restart it, and when you do that, the whole thing starts all over again, and you have another 45 minutes to work with. And that's really all there is on the screen. Informational window where you can look at the hours, mask fit, smiley, frowny face, humidity level, increase it for dryness, decrease it if it feels too warm. Remember, you should be seeing the temperature. If you're still seeing a number, it's either not clicked in all the way in the back, or you're using a slim line tubing. And then the last feature is the ramp time, where you can adjust how much time it takes to go from minimum to prescribed pressure. So as a quick overview, there's two machines, the CPAP and the humidifier. We'll attach them, plug them in together. The power cord plugs in the back right here. Then machine will be loading for a little bit, and then we'll disconnect this little rubber piece there, attach the tubing, and again make sure it clicks in on the back all the way in there. And then when you're ready to start it on, you would press the start, and the other end of the tubing gets attached to the mask. And of course we'll need to put some water in the chamber. Make sure it's something clean, cleaner than tap. Gets filled right here, and then keep things clean. One other thing I do want to mention is on the back of your machine you also have a filter that filters the air that goes through the system, and that's this little piece here. It's disposable, you don't need to wash it, you will have to change it about monthly, and insurance does allow you to replace those periodically. And that's just a quick overview. Of course, when you need further instructions or any questions, you would contact your healthcare provider.